Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, August 14th of 2022. It's a beautiful day here in Utah, and I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are as well. Now, as usual, as I go through my week and different things happen, different events, different thoughts, different things I watch, different people that I come in contact with, I always have these little sparks of ideas on what I can kind of bring together. And there are things that I write down as I'm walking through my day. Typically, I'll just kind of carry this journal around with me, which if you haven't gotten this one in place, I would highly suggest it. Now, one of the things what really struck me today was as human beings, we've stopped, or it's been trained out of us, to listen to the knowledge that's in our soul. And we have this deep wisdom that lives inside of us, and it's either programmed out of us or it's distracted out of us. So I had a couple of thoughts that I wrote down today that I just want to kind of to share with you on how we can go back to paying attention and listening to the deep wisdom that lives inside of us. So the first one is to cast off all of the old negative thought patterns, negative habits, even sometimes negative people that just tend to continually stay in a loop in our lives. And it's easier said than done, all of these things, but I would say start with maybe the physical things. Like, one of the best ways I've found to do this is to clean out a closet or clean out a room or a drawer. And I've talked about this before, but I think this is a perfect way to segue into releasing old things that don't serve us. So I find that when I go into my closet and clean it out, and I've gone through some big purges in the past where now I'm in actually a pretty good rhythm where I don't let it get too crowded up with things. And it also reminds me not to overspend and overbuy, and don't buy things that I simply and not to buy things I simply don't need. So, and I'm sure if you're a modern human living in a place of abundance where you've always had plenty of options, we tend to fill up our environments with way too much stuff. And here's one thing I found that a lot of people do, and I've been guilty of this in the past too, is we hold on to things like, say, clothes that don't fit us, or maybe they're out of style. Or, for me, I spent 40 years teaching fitness classes. And of course, you can imagine all of the different styles that I participated in just in the things that I would wear when I was exercising. And I went through this whole big phase of these fashionable leotards and the tights and the high top Reebok shoes and the leg warmers and the headbands. And I will tell you, when the styles changed, I actually had a hard time releasing some of these favorite outfits that I would wear. And I kept them in a drawer, in a couple of drawers in my closet for years before I finally realized, oh my goodness, why am I holding on to these? So I would say that if you can start with some of these things, and I actually, there was a few things I threw away of those from that era, that period. But there are a few things that were in really good shape that I thought would be still interest somebody. Then I take them to a place where I can donate them. And the feeling of release and releasing old things that no longer serve you can be a really, really good place to start. And then I would say, go into the place in your mind that has that loop of negative thought patterns. And you really need to think, is this serving me? And I think that that's a perfect place to start with the physical things, then the thought patterns, and sometimes that can be one of the hardest. But then I would say, let's move this into people in your life who no longer serve you. And this can be maybe the hardest for some people because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. And it is extra hard when there might be family members that you have to disconnect from. And it doesn't mean that you can't love them. You don't have to talk bad about them. In fact, over the years, what I've found is that it all can be done with love. And when you clear the old negative things, thoughts, and people from your life, um, it makes it easier to listen to the deep knowledge that's inside of your soul. And this one, I truly love that. So here's the next one I wrote. Unlock the magic that's within you. We have everything we need inside of us. We have answers. We have deep wisdom. We have the magic inside of us. And on a really deep level that's wanting to bubble to the surface, we know that. So realize that. And to me, that's like, there's three things I wrote down here that can help you unlock the magic that's inside of you. Number one is to sit in stillness. Just be still, just be quiet. Sometimes I'll be sitting outside either in our front yard or our backyard, mostly right now in our back because it's the perfect place to go at the end of a workday. And it's just, we've created this really lovely spot, and I'll sit there and I won't have my phone with me. I might have a glass of water or a cup of tea or kombucha or something. But typically I'm there without a book, I'm without my technology, and I'm just sitting there staring. I'm just sitting. And this is when I get my deepest reflections and my deepest realizations of purpose and clarity and why I'm here. And then the second thing that I wrote here is to pull out your journal. And this is one thing that I will have with me on a regular basis, because when a thought comes to me, an epiphany, like a starburst of realization about something, then I can write it down and it helps me remember it. So that is the second thing. Now, the third thing is to disconnect even from the things that inspire you. So if you're like me, I find myself tuning in on a regular basis to some of my favorite teachers and the channels that inspire me. And it almost is like gives me that dopamine hit, which it's not like almost, it totally gives me a dopamine hit. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes me feel better. It's reiterating my thought patterns. It's reiterating my belief systems. But what I would say is if you're going to discover the magic within you and what your purpose is, then you need to even disconnect for periods of time from those things that even lift you up. I'm not saying all the time because I think those things are important. So that one is awesome. Okay, another one here that I wrote down is to grow within your current situation. So this is where we think, I can't find my purpose or listen to my soul promptings unless my situation gets better. So we need to take our current situation, wherever you are, whatever is happening in your job, in your health, in your relationships, and we need to grow within those situations. In fact, here's what I wrote. Tap into the wisdom to overcome whatever life throws at you. The wisdom that's stored within your soul rather than the knowledge that's acquired from this lifetime. So think about that. Tap into the wisdom that's inside of you rather than the knowledge that is acquired by living in this lifetime. And I'm not saying throw all of that out because that gets you through this life. Learning how to drive a car is going to get you through, you need that knowledge to be in this physical world. But I'm talking about those things and the knowledge that you have stored right here. So learn to go within and to take your current situation and grow within that. And I will tell you, we'll start to mushroom out into all these other areas. To me, I always say this, but that is one thing that we always think the grass is greener on the other side, right? So not only that, but I tap into the current projects that you have going on. I will tell you, I feel like I have, this vision of it, like all these spinning plates on these sticks. And I feel like sometimes I have that going on in my life, and I'm sure you do too, where you've got these plates and you've got to keep them spinning. Well, here's the thing. I think that this can tie in to growing within our situation, is finishing the projects that we start. Make them as brilliant and beautiful as you can, but then learn when is the right time to tie them up and to finish them up. Because it's not about perfection. And it's about putting your gifts out to the world and growing within your current situation. So I'm going to wrap this up by the whole follow your soul and the knowledge and the deep wisdom that's inside. We need to remember that we're here for a purpose. We came on purpose for a purpose. And I think the biggest comment I get from people when I talk about this and I would say this in person especially, is they know they have a purpose, but they don't know what it is. And it's very, very frustrating. In fact, I was talking to my niece the other day, and if Misty, you're listening to this is for you. Um, this girl is sparkly and glowy and has the biggest, most beautiful soul. Um, she's just one of those people who is just, to be around her makes you feel better. And I'm sure we all know people like that. And we were having a conversation the other day, and she knows she has this deep purpose, and she's trying to figure out exactly what it is, even though she knows that it's right there close. And so what I suggested to her was the sit in stillness with your journal. And it's like, don't bring anything with you. Find some moments every day, um, and really be dedicated to the purpose of finding your purpose. Because this exercise of sitting quietly, the hardest part might be turn off your brain, because I think a lot of us live in our mind because of all the things that we experience and that we see and we get exposed to. We end up spending our whole life right here, just like rewinding and having an imagination about what might happen or what could happen. And instead of saying, okay, I'm going to step out of the world and into my life. This is what we need to do. We need to step outside of all the craziness and step into our life, grow within our current situation, realize the deep magic that we all have within us, get rid of all of the old things that don't serve us, and really come to where our purpose is. It doesn't matter how big or small or whatever you think this isn't like anyone else's, and no, what am I going to do with this thing that I'm considering is my purpose? Trust me, those things will come as you start to flow into your life and you start to get deeper into the searches of the knowledge in your soul and that deep magic and wisdom within you. It will come. I don't care how old or young you are. I don't care if you're rich or you're poor, or if you're in a wheelchair, or if your health is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are. Everyone has this deep purpose. So I think when we start to tune in and listen to that, not only do we change our life and our circumstances, and we grow into these human beings that are vibrating at this high, high level, but we affect the consciousness of the planet. And it goes out into the quantum realm. And I truly believe that. I believe that we have such an impact, we don't even realize the impact we have. And in order to tune into that, we have to get still, and we have to realize that deep inner wisdom we have, and release those things that the world has programmed into us. We are programmed. We are deeply programmed. And I will tell you, if you got to the end of this video, and you might think either love this person or hate this person, but there's a person I've been reading probably for the last 3 or 4 years, very heavily the last 2, is David Icke. And this might be a person who you've heard of and you love his work. This might be a person you've never heard of, or it might be a person who you're like, oh, he's a crazy conspiracy theorist. I think he is an evolved, amazing human. And if you've never looked at his work, do a little bit of a deep dive if you're looking for something to start to study, or you're just curious about David Icke. Anyway, I hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Hit that subscribe button, and if you feel so inclined, turn on your notifications. I am dropping a video usually during the week that has to do with some type of herbal wisdom, herbal knowledge, something that we can put out to really help you with the whole health piece, where we are really diving back into herbal medicine, apothecary style, taking care of ourselves, where with the traditions that have been around for humans for centuries. I see this huge wave of people that are going ding, ding, ding. The light bulb is going off. this is how we're designed to take care of ourselves. So what I try to do during the week is drop an email with some information, some knowledge that might light a spark in you. And it might be something you recognize from that deep wisdom that's inside of your soul. So I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for tuning in and liking and sharing and all those things. So have a beautiful day, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.